Welcome to the Sam and Joe VA Show, where we teach women just like you how to start and scale a thriving virtual assistant business.
We're your hosts, Sam and Joe, and get ready to have the control, flexibility, and freedom you've always dreamed of.
Welcome to episode 65, 7 Ways to Keep Your Subcontractors Happy.
Yeah, this is going to be the episode for you if you are thinking about growing your team in the near future, or if you've grown the team, but you're struggling to keep them. Your turnover is really high. They're not happy. You're finding yourself having to micromanage them. Communication isn't great. Whatever it is, if you're having difficulties, this is the episode for you as well.
And we're not going to go through the recruiting of subcontractors in this episode, but it's so important to get that right and recruit really well. So we're going to talk about the 7 ways to, once you have recruited them, to keeping them in your company, in your business, and working really well with you. And ultimately, everyone wants to be happy in their role. If they're happy, they stay on longer, right?
Yeah. And you know what? We've got your entire wealth of knowledge and experience. Your team currently, what is your team at the moment? It's over 30, isn't it?
Well, it fluctuates around the 30, yeah.
Which is big. That's really big. Yeah. And that's a lot of team to be keeping happy.
And that's definitely some management. So I'm not currently working day to day in my VA business anymore. I have essentially 3 managers who are managing all of those team members and all of the operations and making sure that the business is running well, and very importantly, that our team, our employee team, and our subcontractors are super happy.
It's so important. Okay, so we've got 7 ways. Joe's top 7 tips to keeping those subcontractors happy. So we'll start off. Now, the number 1, it is super important. You want to be paying them well and paying them on time.
Absolutely. I think that paying on time, you've got to remember that they are relying on this money financially for their family, for buying their groceries that week. You can't be just forgetting or putting it off, or like, oh, my cash flow is bad, so I'm just not going to pay them yet. It is so important that, one, you've implemented some in advance invoicing to your clients, because if you start growing your team of contractors and you start paying them weekly and you haven't invoiced your clients yet, you're going to come into some very bad cash flow issues. So make sure that you have the systems in place, you've got it sorted so that you have the cash that you can pay your subcontractors. You have to pay them on time. They're relying on this money, especially if you're giving them, 20 hours a week of work. They are going to be relying on that money. So make sure that you pay them on time.
Do you have any tips for, let's be honest, shit happens in life, doesn't it? So if somebody did have a team, something bad happened and cash flow all of a sudden was an issue, what do you do? Do you pay those subcontractors first? Is that your number 1 priority?
Absolutely. I would pay team members first. And before other suppliers, I would make sure that because they are the people who are actually making you money. If you lose them, then no more revenue coming in from that client potentially. So yeah, absolutely. Make sure that you have your cash flow sorted. Even if you need to have like an overdraft or a facility, something that you could dip in and out of to be able to support that lumpiness of client payments. But the best thing to do is start invoicing your clients in advance, because then you get the money and then your contractors are delivering the work. So you're going to have the cash. So really make sure that you are in a position to manage your cash flow well, and you have some financial nous about you before thinking about bringing on those subcontractors.
Yeah. Great advice. Okay, number 2.
Can we also, can we just back up though? The rate for paying them. You have to make sure that you are paying really good rates to your subcontractors. it needs to be tempting for them to stay. They are potentially going to have their own virtual assistant business, and they're going to be trying to find their own clients, obviously at a higher rate than you are going to pay them as a subcontractor. So make it really tempting for them to stay. Make it easy, an easy client, easy for them to get more work from you. Make everything about it easy for them to want to stay, because it is so easy. And that absolutely needs to be a really good rate. I pay probably in the upper quartile of rates for subcontractors.
Mm.
I'm not stingy. I make sure I pay them well, because I want them to stick around. The longer they stick around, the easier it is for me. The clients are super happy. They stay. We don't have to have so much internal like shifting around of clients and stuff. So yeah,
Is there a
pay them well.
formula? Is there a formula that you use, Joe, in terms of you obviously know what you charge, what you're charging your client? Is there some type of little formula that then?
Look, I don't know if there's a look, people often say you should be charging 3 times more than what you're paying your subcontractors or your team members. However,
Wow.
in that's all very well for like consulting businesses, but when you're a virtual assistant business, we just don't have those margins. So for me, I am paying just over half.
Okay.
So yeah, pretty much just over half to two-thirds of what I charge a client to the subcontractor,
Yeah. Yeah.
somewhere in between there. Yeah.
Mm. I know we said that we're not talking about the recruitment side of things, but let's just touch on that super, super briefly. You know, if you are growing your team and you're finding it hard to even bring on subcontractors, that's definitely one of the reasons, probably, isn't
Mm,
it? Not paying
yeah.
them enough.
Yeah, if you're finding it really hard to bring on the subcontractor, one of the things you need to look at is your rate that
Mm,
you're offering to pay.
okay. All right. Are you ready to move on to number 2?
Yep.
Okay. Number 2, our second reason or way to keep your subcontractors happy is to nurture them. They
Mm,
wanna feel loved, they wanna feel respected, they wanna know that you trust them to do a good job or a great job, right?
mm. You have to realize that they are humans, they are people, they are used to being in roles where they have a team, where they have,
Mm,
support and a manager and someone to go to. So don't think that you can just hire them, bring them on, and just leave them to it, and that's it, and you don't have to ever, like, talk to them or support them. You're gonna be really involved up front, and, this definitely includes the nurturing. You need to be checking in with them regularly. Give them a call and just say, "Hey, how's everything going? Is there anything that I can do differently to help? Are you wanting more hours? How are you feeling about your hours? Is there anything I can answer in terms of the client?" Reach out to them. It needs to be you reaching out to them, not them feeling like they have to be the one to reach out to you. That would be nurturing in my eyes. You
mm,
reaching out unexpectedly and just checking in, offering that support, seeing what you can do to help them.
yeah. I mean, as you said, your subcontractors are human beings. We're not robots. We are not robots, despite what some people that are new to the VA industry think. We are real people with real feelings, and you have to treat them as such, right?
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's so important.
Okay, next up. This is a biggie. Communication. We
Mm,
talk a lot about communication, and we also talk a lot about the fact that most problems that you have in your virtual assistant business often comes down to poor communication or lack of communication. And it's
mm.
no different with subcontractors.
Yeah, 100%. It's more than half of the problems that are in your business are all down to that communication. So make it regular. Make sure that you could have a weekly check-in with them, or you could bring them to a team meeting that you have each week. Make it something that is regular. It is organized, arranged, that you will communicate with them in a certain way at a certain time about things that they need to know about. And give them make them feel like they can come to you at any point and ask you a
Mm.
question. Never be too busy to answer your phone, too busy to answer their emails, too busy to respond to their chat messages. And on that too, make a hub in your business of some kind where everyone can communicate. I use Teamwork Chat, but you could use Slack. Make it a quick messaging communication tool that is your hub for communication so that your contractors feel like they can get the answers that they need. They might be about to go on a Zoom call with the client and they need to know something quickly. They need to be
Mm.
able to access you and get the answers that they need so that they can do a really good job. So make sure that that communication is really open. Have them feel like they can come and ask you anything.
Yeah, and yeah, as you said, no barriers. Make it super, super easy.
Mm.
Next up, they wanna have fun, don't they? It's a workplace. It's
Mhm.
as we mentioned before, your team is not a set and forget tool. They are
Mm.
real people, so they wanna laugh occasionally. How best do you do that, especially with a virtual team?
Mm. So important. Like, I think many virtual assistants and subcontractors feel very alone
Mm.
and isolated in this kind of business. And so it's really important to have fun, a team environment, atmosphere, like somewhere that they can go to vibe with everyone else. And yeah, ultimately, it just comes down to fun. Who wants to go to work and not have fun? Like everyone wants to have fun at work. Um, the way that we do that is again that chat tool. There are channels in there, and I think of them like chat rooms where it is all about fun. One of them is just our general channel. We really encourage people to use GIFs, make funny comments, quote of the week, kind of like, oh, if someone says something funny, bring fun life GIFs, um, make it visual, make it jokey,
Yeah.
somewhere in your communication hub. And we use a lot of emojis. Use emojis. Encourage people to feel like they can really relax and have fun conversations in there, and it doesn't have to be super professional and serious in your internal chat communication. Like, let that be a place of vibrancy and fun.
Mm. Yeah, you wanna create a safe space for them, a space where they feel as though they can be themselves, that they're not gonna be judged.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, make it super open, relaxed, fun in that internal communication because yeah, that's what everyone wants at work. They want fun.
And you get in events as well. Like we see a lot of, especially the agency owners here locally, they get together. They'll have a dinner if you or some type of fun event, Christmas do. But you can do the same thing if your team's virtual as well, can't you? There is no excuses nowadays. There's absolutely no excuses why you can't get together as a team.
Yeah, and even Zoom get-togethers.
Hmm.
So we make sure that we encourage our subcontractors to come. I think it's fortnightly to a fortnightly team meeting where they come along and talk about like any issues that they're having or just general update. But just to see people face to face on Zoom is a really nice feeling. Like they feel like they're part of something, part of a team, and let them use filters. People come dressed up as all sorts of, well, not dressed up, but look like they're dressed up with all sorts of things. Yeah, make it fun. It really lightens it. It's a good laugh. Everyone likes to smile.
Yeah. Okay, next up on our list is keep yourself in check. Now,
Mm.
Joe, what do we mean when we say keep yourself in check?
There's I mean, we're getting into a lot of like leadership kind of stuff as well. And everyone wants to work for someone who is very calm, collected, and never like flies off the handle, we say, or gets angry or has outbursts. We want to work with and for someone that has we know that we can bring anything to them. They've got our back, they're going to support us, they're going to give us the feedback, but they are going to do it in a calm, collected way and in a way that we can trust that they have got it together. They know what they're doing. Yeah, uh, you really have to monitor yourself and manage yourself, self-manage, to make sure that you are showing up for your subcontractors in the very best way that makes them feel supported and relaxed. And
Mm,
this comes into the micromanaging, the, like, not wanting to let
mm.
go, the really over checking everything. Yes, do reviews, but, like, yeah, there's a you need to moderate yourself and you need to let go of stuff and know that they are going to make mistakes and that is okay. Most things are undoable. But if you're giving them the support and having regular check-ins with them, get them to feed back to you like, "Hey, so how's it going? What's come up for you? What's in the future with this client? What are we looking at in terms of like next week, the next month? What have they been asking you to do?" And just get them to talk through that stuff and just check that they're on the right track with things. But yeah, you really don't want to be like, "Oh, that's not how I would do it," or "That's the wrong way," or there's. I'm holding back because I could just talk for 2 hours, 3 hours,
Yeah,
all day on this
yeah,
kind of stuff, this
you
leadership
could.
stuff. But
Yeah.
think about the workplaces that you really enjoyed working for, and I guarantee you it's because you had a really good manager. Think about how
Mm.
they treated you, how they acted, what they said, what they did, what their behavior was. That's the kind of stuff that you want to be mirroring, um, especially with subcontractors. Subcontractors could at any moment say, "Actually, I don't want to work for you anymore," and leave. And so that's the kind of stuff that you want to avoid, and be that support for that person so that they want to stay and want to work with you.
So keeping yourself in check, it really comes down to being a leader to be proud of, right?
Mhm,
So, and in order to do that, you need to be self-aware. You need
mhm,
to be really aware of what's going on in your own head and how you're coming across to others. Um, and emotional intelligence, I
mm,
guess. That's kind of hand in hand, isn't it?
yeah. I think some key things too are that if a subcontractor sees you frazzled, stressed, feeling like
Mm,
you're out of control, disorganized, not turning up to things, that is going to put some serious doubt into their
mm,
mind about whether you have got this business under control. Nobody wants to work for someone who is like that or behaves like that. So
yeah.
really check yourself. You can be stressed, but you don't need to show it to your subcontractors.
Yes, yeah, that's key. And you know what? I think it's also important to remember that being a leader, being a manager, it's not suited for everybody, and that's okay.
Mhm.
Like if you've listened to that and just go, "Oh my gosh, yeah, yeah, that all those things that Joe just mentioned, frazzled, stressed, unorganized, um, it may just be that this isn't the right path for you, and you
Mm,
need to take a step back and look at your journey and where you see your business heading,
mhm,
or get somebody else in to do that management and leadership for you.
mm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Next up, praise and appreciation. So important. Who doesn't love to be told that they've done a bang up job and
Mhm,
that you're such an important part of our team? Who doesn't want to hear that?
mhm. Every single person wants to feel valued. That's
Mm,
what it comes down to. And if you are not showing your appreciation in some way, that person is gonna get very disheartened and be like, "Oh, do they even care? Like,
mm.
what's the point of me doing this? I don't feel valued." So they're gonna go and find somewhere else that they can feel valued. So yeah, absolutely. Praise and appreciation. Have a chat channel in your comms that you can praise people and thank people and appreciate people, openly and publicly, and also
Mm.
like send text messages, send little messages to people, your subcontractors, and just say, "Hey, awesome job this week. Thanks so much. Like, really appreciate it." Or if you, when you're checking in and doing your account management calls with clients, actually feedback to your subcontractors. Let them know how they are doing, what their client is thinking.
Yeah, we no longer live in a world where paying somebody to do a job is your way of appreciating them. People need
Mhm,
more. They need
mhm.
more than that. Yeah.
They sure do.
Okay, and the last one on our list, number 7, is about having those really tough conversations, the conversations that make you feel sick to your stomach, the icky ones, the conversations that you'd rather somebody else do. Look, if you've got a team, you've got to step up and have these tough conversations, don't you?
Mm-hmm. You really do. And you might be thinking, how is this a way to keep your subcontractors happy? But subcontractors really respect you as a leader if you are not afraid to have those tough conversations.
Mm.
And sometimes they're not actually that tough. It's just that they are expectation setting, which makes the subcontractor super clear on exactly how it's going to work, what's involved, what they need to do. That keeps them happy because then they don't have to have the, oh, but I thought that that was going to be like this, and that makes them very unhappy. So, tough conversations are around money. Do not bring on a subcontractor or get anywhere down the track without talking money up front first. And the expectations of, like, let's say that they needed to go on site with a client and take some minutes of a meeting or something like that. Make sure that you have that conversation up front with them about, like, right, okay, so the client has asked you to do this. Great. So I'm going to go to the client. I'm going to let them know about the higher rate or how the mileage is going to work or travel, etc. I'll get that confirmed with them. Then I'll come back to you and I'll confirm with you too to make sure that we've got your travel time or your, like, using your own car covered. Like, for a lot of people, that's a tough conversation. But if you don't have that conversation, it is then going to have the subcontractor very unhappy when you say, oh, no, you can't charge me for travel time because I haven't charged the client. Like, immediately they are unhappy with you. So
Yeah.
take control of your business, the conversations with the client, the conversations with your subcontractors. You have to have those tough conversations. Don't leave things unsaid because it will just bite you in the bum later.
Another tough conversation would be issues between team members. It's going to happen, isn't it?
Mm. Not so much with subcontractors. That often comes with employee territory. But yeah, if your subcontractor is having an issue with another team member and they're not getting what they need, or they're miscommunicating, or they're not understanding each other's personality style, then absolutely you need to step in and support those two team members, help them see the other perspective, figure out a solution of how they can move forward. Yeah, absolutely. You need to be having those. Otherwise, the subcontractor's been going to say, I don't really like working here because there's this issue with this other team member, and I don't need to because I am a business owner myself and I get to make these decisions. So, yeah, you absolutely need to make sure that you are having tough conversations with any number of your team members.
And clients as well. I mean, as much as we'd love every client to be a perfectly well-behaved client, that's not always going to happen, is it?
Yeah.
Or as much as you'd like to think that you're matching up the perfect subcontractor with the perfect client, sometimes that's not always going to be right either.
Mm. And one final thing that I want to leave everyone with is that um, often those who are new to hiring a team in their VA business think that bringing on subcontractors means that they're doing a favor to the subcontractor. Oh, I'm giving you work. You need to be happy that I'm giving you work, and I'm doing you a favor. When actually that is completely the wrong way to look at it. The subcontractor, are doing you a favor. They are working with your clients. They are bringing in that revenue for you. They are the ones doing a favor for you. And you need to make sure that that relationship has that kind of lens across it when you are thinking about how you're dealing with your subcontractors. You need to keep your subcontractors super happy because they are the ones who are bringing revenue into your company. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Sam and Joe VA Show. If you'd like to find out more, head to the VA Foundry website to check out the Members Club and the amazing resources, training, and coaching.
You can find us at thevafoundry.com.